Now that we've gotten somewhat used to simplifying radical expressions involving square roots, cube roots, fourth roots, whatever, today we're going to look at two parts, multiplying radicals and dividing radicals. So when you're multiplying radicals today, the first thing you always want to check to see is if they have the same index. If they have different index, say in this first case it was the cube root of 15 multiplied by the square root of 3, we could not do that, we cannot simplify that. So they have to have the same index first. And when you're multiplying radicals, we're really applying this property that says that if you have the same index, let's say the square root of a multiplied by the square root of b, and again, same is true with cube roots, fourth roots, and so forth, then we can combine that as the square root of a times b. And so in this case, if we look at that first example, the square root of 15 times the square root of 3, since they have the same index, they're both square roots, that means we can apply that property that says we can combine it as the square root of 15 times 3, which, if we simplify, 15 times 3 becomes 45. And then once we got to this stage, it's really from simplifying expressions video that we're just going to be breaking that down using factor tree now. So if I make a factor tree of 45, I know 5 times 9 is 45. I know 9 is 3 times 3. And so the square root of 45 becomes the square root of 3 times 5. And remember, since the index is 2, right, it's a square root, this is what we're going to find for every pair. We can pull out one of them because it's a square root. So final answer would be 3 square roots of 5. So in the next case, if you notice there's some numbers in front, those don't represent the index, remember, these are bigger numbers, right? If this was a little 4 right there, that would represent the fourth root, but it's not, it's a big 4. So this represents 4 times the square root of 20 multiplied by 2 times the square root of 3. So in this case, if you have coefficients, we want to take care of those first. Okay, so we're still going to multiply 4 times 2 together because it's a big multiplication problem and we can use that commutative property here. So shuffling that around, 4 times 2 becomes 8. And then again, these are both the same index. You always want to check first. But since they are, I can combine it as the square root of 20 times 3, which ends up being 60 overall. At this stage, you're just focusing on simplifying that square root of 60, making our factor tree like before. And so if I break down 60, 60 is 2 times 30, 30 is 2 times 15, 15 is 3 times 5, and remember the prime numbers allows you to make that prime factorization of that number. And so we still have 8 square roots in front, and then 60 can be broken down to 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. And so remember, for every pair, you can pull out one here because, again, it's square root. So for every pair of them, looks like there's only one pair, I can pull that out. Now when you're pulling it out in front, we need to be multiplying it by that 8. So the front coefficient is going to be 2 times 8, which is 16. And then what I'm left with is what I didn't circle, which is the 3 times 5, which ends up being 15. And so in this case, our final answer is 16 square roots of 15. Well, what if there's variables? Same process. You still want to check for see if it's same index. So in both cases, they're the same. And now when you're multiplying together, you're going to be using those properties of exponents that we learned in the previous unit to attend to those variables underneath the radical symbol itself. And so combining these, since they are the same square root, in this case, 6 times 12 ends up being 72. And then if I take x times x to the 4th using properties of exponents, when we're multiplying, remember we're adding the exponents here. So it ends up being x to the 5th. And then again, like before, we're breaking this down, but remember if there's variables, we're going to expand that fully. And so if I make a factor tree of 72, 72 is, well, I know that it's 2 times 36. 36 is 2 times 18. 18 is 2 times 9. And 9 is 3 times 3. And so if I expand underneath the radical part, 72 can be broken down to 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. And since it's x to the 5th, there's 5 of them. And since, again, it's a square root here we're dealing with, the index is 2 for every pair we're looking at. So we got 1 pair of 2's, and looks like we got a pair of 3's and 2 pairs of x's there. So so if I pull out one of the 2's and one of the 3's, when I multiply them together, we get 6. So it'll be 6, and I can also pull out an x and another x, and remember when you're pulling out both of those, that becomes x squared in front. Still want to remember the radical symbol, and then what we're left with is what we didn't circle, which if you notice we didn't circle the 2 and we didn't circle that extra x there, so underneath that radical symbol would be a 2 and an x. And so again, try to have some kind of separation here, even though they end up being the same, because some people will mix up that power with that coefficient in front to be that index here. And it's not the case here, but it ends up being the same since it's a square root. So if we look at the next one, here we're dealing with cube roots. So since they're both the same, we can apply the property, combining them as 1. And so if I combine that as 1 cube root first, well, 8 times 5 ends up being 40, so you multiply the numbers together, and remember when we're doing variables here, a to the 4th times a to the 7th, we're adding those exponents, so it's going to be a to the 11th. And so if I break down and make a factor tree of 40, 40 is 2 times 20, 20 is 2 times 10, 10 is 2 times 5, so the factor tree of 40 is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 5, and so looks like it ends up being the cube root of 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times, and I know it's tedious, 11 a's. I'm going to have to write it down slightly. Okay, so now that we have it fully expanded underneath the radical symbol, now since the index is 3, we're going to be looking for groups of 3 now. And so let's circle every group of 3. So there's a 3 2's and 3 a's, and looks like we have another 3 a's. So for every pair of 3's now, we can pull out one of them. And so we can pull out 1, 2, and it looks like we can pull out 3 a's. And if I pull out 3 a's, remember it becomes a cubed in front. We still want to have some separation there, providing the index with the radical symbol, so it's still the cube root of what we didn't circle. And if you notice, what we didn't circle was the 5 and the 2 a's there. So underneath it's going to be 5a squared. And that's our final answer. So now it's your turn to try. I want you to pause the video, try the best you can on these 2 examples. Don't forget that you can refer back to the video examples if you get stuck, and we'll go over these in a few seconds. Good luck. So in the first case, when you're combining these as 1 square root, I believe you should end up getting 3 times 24 is 72. When I multiply the x's together, x cubed times x, that ends up being x to the 4th. And then y times y to the 6th ends up being y to the 7th. If I fully expand this and make a factor tree of 72, I believe you should have got 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. And then since there's x to the 4th, there's 4 of them, and 7 y's. And since we're dealing with square roots here, the index is 2. That means for every pair. And so if I circle all the pairs here, looks like I can pull out 1, 2. I can pull out 1, 3, and that makes it 6 in front. I pull out 2 x's, which makes it x squared, and if I pull out 3 y's, that becomes y cubed, and what I'm left with is the square root of, looks like I didn't circle 2 and I didn't circle the last y there. And so it looks kind of nasty, but that's what you should have got. And so for the next one, remember we have some numbers in front, those are coefficients. And so we multiply those first, so 2 times 4 becomes 8. And then you're still left with the cube root of, and then let's multiply underneath the radical symbol now. So 4 times 2 is 8. A to the 4th times a becomes a to the 5th. And then if I take b squared times b, that becomes b cubed. And so if I fully expand that, still have the 8 in front. But if I expand what's underneath the radical symbol, 8 can be broken down to 2 times 2 times 2. 5 a's since it's a to the 5th, and 3 b's since it's b to the 3rd. And so since we have an index of 3 here, let's circle every group of 3 down. So it looks like we can pull out 1, 2, 1a, and 1b. If I pull out 1, 2 though, remember you got to multiply it to that 8 in front that's already there. And so we're going to have 16 in front. We can pull out one of the a's, remember, out of the group of 3's, and it looks like we can pull out one of those b's out of there. And so in front is 16ab. What you're left with inside is the cube root of, looks like 2 a's are left, so that'd be a squared underneath, and that would be our final answer. So hopefully you got both of those questions. So this leads us to part 2 today, which is dividing radicals. Similar to multiplying radicals, you want to make sure that they have the same index before you divide them. But there's another property here that says that if you have the square root of, let's say, a over the square root of b, then that allows us to say that's equivalent to the square root of a divided by b overall. And this is interchangeable, so if you see something written as, let's say, the square root of a over b, maybe it's helpful to kind of split it up the other way, separating the square root of the numerator and the denominator separately. So we'll look at several cases. So here's a mixture of problems. In the first case, you always want to check to see if maybe you can simplify underneath first. If you have two separate square root symbols, the chances are it's probably best that we put it all underneath one using that property. And so if you look at that first case, we have the square root of 10 over the square root of 2. We really can't simplify 10 at all, break that down. Square root of 2 is simplified overall itself. So I can apply that property that says, well, that's the same as the square root of 10 divided by 2 inside. And if I do my operations, 10 divided by 2 ends up being 5. And so fully simplified would be the square root of 5 there, because we cannot break that down any further. So if you take a look at the one below it, very similar, we have the square root of 30 over the square root of 5. If you check square root of 30, that's actually fully simplified there. So it's best that we kind of write it all underneath 1. And so that's equivalent to 30 over 5, the square root of 30 over 5, which square root of 30 over 5 ends up being 6. And square root of 6 is fully simplified because it breaks down to 2 times 3, and there's no pairs we can pull out. And so for the next one, notice it's all underneath 1 already, so check to see if you can simplify that first. In fact, in this case, 40 divided by 2 we can simplify. That ends up being 24. And then you want to check to see if 24 is fully simplified, because it looks like we can probably break this down a little bit further. And so 24, if I make a factor tree of 24, it's 2 times 12, it's 2 times 6, it's 2 times 3. And then so since it's a square root, it means for every pair. So we've taken that and broke it down to the square root of 24, but after that we've broken it to square root of 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. And remember, for every pair you can pull out one of those. So I think the final answer ends up being 2 square roots of 6 there. And for that last one that we didn't get to, check to see if you can simplify that first underneath. The last one above it, we were able to. 48 divided by 2 is 24, but this one, notice 144 divided by 49 doesn't come out nicely. And so this is a case where we can actually split this up the other way of that property that says if you have the square root of 144 over 49, we can actually split that up separately and say it's the square root of 144 all over the square root of 49. Square root of 144, that's actually a nice number. In fact, that's one of the square numbers. What's the same number that multiplies to 144? It ends up being 12. And the square root of 49, we should know, is 7, and that can't be reduced, so 12 over 7 is our final answer there. So here's some extra examples involving variables, involving coefficients. If you take a look at that first one here, anytime you have coefficients involved, remember those are not the index. You still want to divide them as usual. So 20 divided by 4 ends up being 5. And then as far as the radical parts, we might want to just focus on, let's maybe simplifying just that square root of 15 over square root of 5 here and write it as the square root of 15 all over 5. Because if I simplify that, that ends up being the square root of 3. And so the coefficients become 5, the radical becomes square root of 3. Since that's square root of 3 can't be broken down, that would be our final answer here. For this next one to the right, Since it's square root over square root, we can combine it as 1. And so if we think about it as the square root of 72x to the 8th, y to the 4th, all over 6x to the 5th, y cubed, let's look at maybe simplifying what's underneath first before we break down that radical. Because 72 divided by 6 ends up being 12. For the other variables, we're going to be using those properties of exponents. And remember, when we're dividing here, we need to subtract those exponents. So it's going to be x to the 8 minus 5, which is x to the 3rd. And then it's going to be y to the 4 minus 3 power, which is y to the 1st. So we've broken it down to one radical now. And at this stage, we want to make that factor tree of 12. In fact, 12 breaks down to 2 times 3. There's 3 x's because of the x cubed, and there's only one y there. Since the index is 2, we're going to be looking at pairs here, and it looks like there's 2 pairs. There's a 2 we can pull out, there's an x we can pull out, and what we're left with is what we didn't circle, which is 3xy. So that would be our final answer for that last problem. So here's a mixture of problems. Take a moment to pause the video, try the best you can on these division ones, but these are the last 3 problems we'll be going over today. So try your best and good luck. So for the first one, we have the square root of 30 over square root of 2. Since we can't break that down, let's write it as the square root of 30 over 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15. And so we get the square root of 15. And if we try to make a factor tree of 15, that's just 3 times 5, so it ends up being no pairs. So that's our final answer here, square root of 15. Notice the next one here, it's all underneath 1, so let's maybe simplify underneath first, see if we can break that down further. If there's coefficients, we still want to divide those, right? We don't subtract them, we only subtract the exponent parts. And so 24 divided by 3 ends up being 8. If I look at the exponent parts, a to the 10th over a cubed, I'd subtract those, so that becomes a to the 7th. And if I subtract those other ones, that becomes b to the 4th. If I fully expand that, 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. There are 7 a's. And there are 4 b's. And so for every 2, because it's a square root here, we can pull out one of them. And so it looks like I can pull out 1, 2, 3 a's becoming a cubed, and 2 b's becoming b squared. And what I'm left with is the square root of what I didn't circle. And I didn't circle the 2 and that extra a in there. So that'll be our final answer there. And for that very last one, a little bit easier than the previous 2. Since it's separate, you could break down that top, the numerator, because it can be broken down there. But it's almost easier to combine it as 1, simplify, then break it down afterwards. If I combine it as 1, 45 divided by 5 ends up being 9. And if I do properties of exponents here, looks like I'm left with x, just x. And so if I break that down, 9 is 3 times 3. And so since it's a square root, every pair I can pull out one of them. So it just ends up being 3 square roots of x for that last final answer. So hopefully you got all those, and hopefully you had a chance to write down all those wonderful examples we went through. But with that in mind, it is practice time, so refer to Canvas for your homework for the day. Make sure you keep up on it. Make sure you try to get that in before the end of the day. And like always, if there's any questions on any of the material in class, you can always reach out to me, either the Canvas discussion board, post those questions there, I'll get back to you pretty quickly, or you can email me some of those separate questions. So have a great day.